Hey everybody, it's Chris Parker here from Rottweiler Performance. We're here with Upshift magazine in beautiful Breckenridge for the KTM rally, which is off to my left here. Upshift came and grabbed us and they want us to talk about this 790 build that we did, which we are debuting at this rally. So we're going to walk you through some bits and pieces on this bike and kind of tell you what we did and what the concept is. And then you guys can figure out what you want to do from there. Okay, so a lot of people ask us why we built this bike, and honestly, I've got a really warmed over 990, 2012 990 that is like you couldn't pry from my cold dead hands, and honestly, this is the first bike that's ever made me consider possibly selling that bike, and I mean that with all sincerity. I went and tested this bike with Jimmy Lewis out of Murrieta and KTM, and honestly, it's a really good bike. So what we wanted to do is take a lot of the aftermarket parts, the good stuff, and kind of build up something and see how we can make this bike a good attack machine, you know, a really well-rounded attack machine with the, the good parts on it. So to start with, we'll talk about the suspension. Through Conflict Motorsports, we put on the WP cone valve factory suspension, and Alex at Conflict actually lengthened these to 270 millimeters of travel, which I think is roughly around 11 inches of travel. So it's a bit of a taller bike, so longer inseam is preferable on this thing, or else you're on your toes. I'm a 32 inseam and I'm a bit on my toes, but that's what I prefer in a bike that I want to ride really hard. So we've got the cone valve suspension. As far as the engine modifications yet, I know everybody's waiting for us to do an airbox. We still have that in the works. These ones are a little bit more complicated, so we have the whole bike 3D scan and we're working on that. But we do have mapping and exhaust on here. So for mapping, we have Power Commander products. These bikes are a little bit tricky, so we're doing some new things at this rally that I don't have conclusive reports on yet, but so far, so good. We're really happy with the way this thing is tuning itself and running with the auto tune and the Power Commander products. Next up, we have the Aero Exhaust, which is all bolted on here. So we have the Aero headers, which are the same as the 790 Duke, the D-Cat, which is particular to this bike, and the Aero muffler with a spark arrestor in it. And you'd think with a D-Cat that it would be really loud. It's not. This bike is actually really good sounding. It sounds like a proper motorcycle, doesn't hurt your ears. We're really impressed with the way this thing sounds. There's enough muffler right here to really attenuate the sound. In the braking department, a lot of guys have noticed on this bike, we've gone to a single side out. So that was a big deal back in the day with the 950s and 990s to go to a single side out, because you can dump a good 7 pounds of unsprung weight on the front suspension. So if you want this thing to really work well and respond to what's happening, it's kind of a must. So what we did is we went to a single side disc, which on this bike is a Brake Tech. We also use Galfer. Both are really good rotors. We sell both. We went to an M50 caliper, which is 100 millimeter spacing. They bolt right on. And this is what, the M50 is what comes on a Super Duke. And it's a very common caliper that you'll find on Aprilias and Ducatis and other things. It's reasonably priced. They're only about 350 bucks. We sell those too. We will be coming out with a single-sided brake kit for this. So we had a custom set of lines done for this. And once we know everything works and everything is good, we'll be coming out with a brake line kit so you can go to the single-side rotor. Wouldn't recommend it for travel if you've got a passenger or a lot of luggage, you've got a lot of weight. If you're primarily off-road, it is what you need to do. You don't need double discs in the front. If you're traveling, doing a lot of highway stuff, maybe maybe keep the dual front rotors. What else do we have on this machine? We've got our mirrors as usual. Cuts down a lot of the buffeting. This bike has a short windscreen. And so the buffeting can be kind of an issue from the eddies coming from the mirrors. So we've got our quick flip mirror mounts. I'm sorry at high altitude right now, so speaking's a little difficult. So we've got the quick flip mirror mounts on here that people seem to really like. While I'm up here, actually back to the braking, we've got a Brembo RCS 15 master cylinder that works really well with the single. You do need to change the master cylinder if you go to a single side caliper. So in the wheel department, we've got a custom set of W wheels, which we do sell at Rottweiler Performance. So it's a Talon hub, Bulldog spokes, and on the rear, we narrowed the rim a little bit, which is a very popular modification on the guys who off-road these things. We narrowed it from 4 inches to 3 1/4, which crowns the tire a little bit. Allows you to get down in muddy conditions and really dig deep and get the traction that you need. So this is a custom setup with the W wheels front and rear. For the rear sprocket, we have an Ironman sprocket, which is the tool steel. We've got a modified BRP chain guide. So they don't have anything right now that fits on it, but with a little modification, we made it fit. We've talked to Jim at BRP about that, so hopefully they'll be making something for this bike. On the BRP department, we have BRP Stabilizer Mount up here, which is pretty much a must if you're going to off-road them, to put the stabilizers on there. So he's got the Jim at BRP has got the anti-vibration mounts up here. They do raise the bars up a little bit. Most people on adventure bikes prefer that. And then we have the handguard mounts that come off the top of the handlebar clamps that give you a really clean mounting position for the handguards there. So in the clutch department, we're rocking a couple things. We've got a custom CRG billet clutch lever that is designed for Yamaha R1s and street bikes and things like that with cables. We've adapted it over this bike because it has an adjustable fulcrum to get the clutch pull a little bit lighter and a little bit more progressive, because they tend to engage a little quickly on this bike, which is an issue. So we've adapted this over here. We have custom cables that we had Motion Pro custom make for us. So this comes as a package. They fit together, and it allows you to kind of custom tune both where the lever sits on the bars and the clutch pull feel and the engagement. We also have a Recluse clutch in here, which are brand new. We're testing for Recluse right now. We just have to play around with it a little bit. It's a little bit different adjustment. When you have a cable clutch, you kind of have to open it up with the cable. So we're playing with that on this trip too. So there's a number of items we're still kind of in flux with on this bike that we'll be playing with on this, this KTM rally this weekend. So we've obviously modified the front brakes on this particular model. A lot of people have been asking us how we got this fender on here. You normally cannot get a 500 EXC, or this is actually the same fender as the new 2019 690 Enduro. A lot of people have asked us how we got this fender on here. Normally you can't, because the brake line crosses over, and on the stock 790 fender they have a little cavity for that. Since we went to a single-sided brake line system, we don't have that crossover, and we can actually put that fender on here. So it gives it a little bit more of an aggressive look, we think. We liked it. We wanted to do something different and add a little bit of orange color in the front of the bike. Okay, for foot pegs, we've chosen the IMS Core pegs, and these are actually the oversized moto style pegs. The reason we use this size is because the bike is so tall, you tend to kind of do a lot of tiptoeing, and your calves can get into the pegs. And when you run those really, really big foot pegs, the oversized adventure foot pegs, they can get into the back of your calves and possibly make you fall over, which you don't want to do. So we chose the smaller, oversized moto pegs for that. On the handguards, these are actually factory Husqvarna Power Parts handguards, which we really like. You can get these in orange or white. We chose white on this bike because we just thought the mashup of colors really works. So these are the factory Husky Power Parts handguards, and they blend really well with the BRP top handlebar clamp mounts. So on the aesthetics of the bike, obviously we have our graphics package. We sell these for what they cost us, because anyone who wants to rock a Rottweiler graphics package, we're not going to make a penny off you. So that really improves the look of the bike, at least to us. So some of the customers like them. We've sold a bunch so far, and we're super grateful for that people are actually rocking this stuff. Thank you very much for that. We did a tail tidy in the rear. So we have these tail tidies coming. Again, this is another thing that's a prototype at this rally. To clean up the rear end. So obviously the tail tidies, they take all the signals out of there. Everything on this rear end, all the signals are integrated in the license plate, and it really cleans up the look of the rear end. And those have been quite popular. A lot of people have been remarking on that on this trip. We did remove the rack and some other things, because we might be, if we do rock some bags on this, it's going to be some soft luggage, and we don't really need the big grab handles. We can just grab this fender right here. It kind of has a little bit of a handle, so we're fine with that. We also don't need the weight for what we're using this particular bike for. This bike is basically meant to attack terrain with full force and react as best as it can. It's not, this particular build is not meant to be a travel bike. It's not meant to carry a passenger. It's just meant to rock and roll. So that's why we built this in the way that we did.